There she is. Oh, there she goes. Beautiful. Madam Karula. She looks like she's hunting. Now we're going to have to try and keep up with her, David. Are you ready? We're going to have to do some... so James is not sure if it is Karula. Oh. We just got to go over this little shrub here. Wait, no. It's exceptionally thick. Now, Roger, you're wondering if it... Ooh, watch your heads, David, you good? Wondering if it is shadow. I'm not sure. I've seen this leopard's bum, so we're going to have to wait until we get there to confirm. But Karula does like this area. Here she goes. This leopard is now sitting down. We'll have a look here. It is Karula. It is definitely Karula. You can see the big W on her head, and you can spot that straight away. Come on, look towards us. But I'm almost certain, yes, and that snarl is oh so Karula, isn't it? But there's a couple of birds that are also flying ahead and that are watching down on her, so we might get them alarming. But finally, after a very, very long time, we have managed to get this leopard. So very well done to James, Herbert and Craig. Fantastic work from the three of you. And she's hot. She's tired. The sun is baking down on her. But we know Karula. Karula doesn't mind the heat too much. She often likes to move during the day. And one of those reasons would be, especially when she was moving her cubs, she used to move them to avoid the other apex predators that would most likely be resting during the predominant heat of the day. But my favorite leopard of all time, Lisbon, who I've spoken about many times, who roamed the southwestern corner of the Sabi Sand. And, well, she used to do the same thing as Karula. She used to do most of her hunting during the middle of the day. And I think she was very clever by doing that because there weren't too many predators out and about. So she was almost utilizing a window where she had a better chance of perhaps catching something. She'd use a lot more energy, though, because she'd be out in the heat of the day. And you know that these leopards sometimes have to walk miles before they even pick up on a prey species. But she's just having a little rest for the moment, and I hope that she doesn't decide to go through some of this thicker vegetation into the Tamboti thickets, because then that is going to be very interesting to try and follow her. What are you doing, girl? Catching flies. But what a beautiful leopard. I haven't seen her in such a long time. It's so lovely to see her. Hey, beautiful girl. Well, it's good to see that she's still coming back, and I wonder where her cubs are now. I wonder if they crossed the road from the south, or if she's maybe left them on the safety of the termite mound that they were hiding on this morning from those hyenas. Is definitely a possibility. And now she's done enough walking for the day, well, for the moment at least. She's just going to have a little cat nap. She hasn't really chosen a good spot, of course, to hide away from the sun. Hello, Daniel. Daniel, I'm so sad that you missed the sighting this morning that we had, of course, with Karula's cubs and the hyenas. Now, Daniel, you're wondering what basically happened in that sighting. So we driven past where Hosana was found by James in the evening, and he wasn't there, and we knew exactly where he was sitting. And then we did a quick loop because we saw some hyenas running through, so we thought we'd try and catch up with them. And then we decided, okay, let's go past one more time. And as we came past the second time, he'd come out of the bushes and he was sitting in exactly the same spot. Then the hyenas that David and I were trying to chase after came back across from Djuma and back towards sort of a little Gowrie. And then basically Shongile came out. She was on the termite mound resting. She decided to go up a very small tree, a bush willow. And then Hosana just ran and was sort of seeking shelter again up on the termite mound, just watching in the distance, as well as Karula is now watching us. But nothing happened. They were safe and sound. I think those hyenas picked up the scraps from whatever they were eating yesterday. We saw Hosanna had a big fat belly, so we know that he had a good feast. So maybe Karula caught a young impala, which she seems to be catching a lot of lately. And I think, and you know what Shongile and Hosanna are like, they play around with their carcass so much that if Karula had taken it up in the tree, they could have easily dropped it out. And then I think that those hyenas snatched it up. And well, now she's off looking for her next meal for her lovely children. Fast asleep. And hopefully she does catch something for us today. That would be really nice. Now, speaking of her beautiful cubs, in case you are a new viewer and you're not sure about how old Karula's cubs are, hopefully we'll be able to show you them. But they're 11 months old. And Shannon, you were actually wondering what would happen to Karula's cubs if she were to fall pregnant now. I don't think too much. They'd just eventually, in about 3 months or so, they'd get pushed out. So she wouldn't want them around anymore. So even young Shongile would have to go off on her own. But they're old enough. They'll be fine. They know how to catch tortoises. They know how to catch small birds and squirrels and dwarf mongoose. And they'll grow so quickly. So I'm not really worried about that. If something like that were to happen, they would be fine. They would just move off. And then by the time that she would even have cubs, they'd be over a year. Nah, they'll be okay. These cats are tough. But Karula is notorious, and obviously I've just heard this via the grapevine, is that she does seem to keep her cubs for an extended period of time. Oh, she's looking around again. I need to prepare myself, because if she decides to go into the wall of trees that is just behind her, I don't know how we're going to try and keep up with her. And she's who are you snarling at? You better not be snarling at us, young lady. But she's got beautiful teeth, though, as you can see, nice and yellow. She obviously doesn't use a whitening toothpaste. Hey, very yellow teeth. No, I'm just teasing. They don't need to use toothpaste, of course. That's just natural sort of staining on their teeth, and that can often help you identify their age. Well, she's not a particularly young girl anymore. She's got lots of life experience now. Hey, big girl. Come on, catch a steenbok for us. I'm sure there's a lot of them around at the moment. And we're going to try and stick with Karula for a little bit longer. I need to try and guide some of the other rangers into this sighting. But let's go back across to James, who's wandering around on foot. And he's got something with wings, but it's not a bird. I feel like after that, let's get out of here. I need to say radio, just to go with it. But yes, we're still sitting with Karula. She is now sat down under the shade of a knobthorn tree. And there's still a couple of magpie shrikes hanging around. And every time they alarm and basically shout in bird language that there's a leopard here, she gets very upset and she starts to snarl and sort of look up at the tree. And that's always very funny when leopards do that, when they sort of express their frustrations towards the birds, because she's trying very hard to stay hidden, and they are ruining, of course, her chances of catching anything in this area. Are you turning into a vegetarian leopard now, girl? No, of course she's not turning into a vegetarian leopard. She's had a little munch of grass as she went around. Delicious. And this is always was my favorite thing, is when I had guests from all over the world, is everyone knows, of course, that the big cats are predators and they hunt for all sorts of different antelope species and really anything that they can get their paws on. And when you'd come across a lion or a leopard feeding on grass, they always used to look at me as if I was completely bonkers and I had no idea what we were doing. That was, of course, until I obviously explained her behavior. Now, often cats will feed on grasses like this. And normally what it will do is it'll actually induce vomiting. But Karula looks a bit thin, hey, David? You can see her hips are sticking out a little bit, so she's possibly sacrificed whatever she caught, or maybe Hosanna actually caught his own meal. Maybe it wasn't Karula at all. But it's nothing to be worried about, so if you are getting a bit concerned, I promise you that she will be fine. This is very, very common for the cats to go without food for a couple of days. and of course they drastically lose condition. But just as fast as they lose their condition, they're able to put it back on again. So don't worry too much. I have faith in this beautiful cat, and I think by tonight she probably would have found, if she keeps walking through this drainage system, she's probably going to come across a couple of steenbok or common duiker. Or hopefully if she moves towards the more open areas, she might get a herd of impala. And I think that's ideally what she's going for at this time, especially if she's a little bit thin and weaker than what she'd normally be. And it must be tough for her. It must be very tiring as we're moving through, well, while it's still quite hot during the day. Because as she does this, she's using a lot more energy than what she would be using on a cooler night. You can see she's panting. She's definitely trying to cool herself down. And it's very warm here. Now, Pete B., you're actually wondering about if there's a specific reason that Karula is feasting on grass. Maybe she has feeling slightly unwell or something along those lines. Like I said, normally it induces vomiting when they do eat heaps of grass like that. A small amount won't do them any harm. I don't think that does too much to their bodies. But you see it often. Dogs will eat it, but they'll eat copious amounts of it, of course, and then it makes them get sick. But she just ate a little bit, and I don't think that is enough to, of course, make her start vomiting. But she's looking desperately for something, any sign of movement. We're going to try and stick with her, and I'm really hoping she doesn't cross this drainage system. Otherwise, it's going to be, well, an interesting afternoon. But let's go back across to a Byron who has got a feathery friend to show you. Now, I do apologize again for James having a little bit of bad signal this afternoon, but that's just one of those things, unfortunately, when you're out here in Africa. But hopefully this makes up for it. Karula, we thought we lost her for a moment. David and I were panicking because we had to do a big loop around to get into this little drainage system. But luckily she popped out of the Tamboti thicket. And well, now she kindly came down to have a little sip of water in this puddle. Thank you, lovely lady. After all the hard work you've made us do of traveling through the thick bushes this afternoon. Sometimes it's not always easy. Sometimes you have to work exceptionally hard with these animals, but we don't mind, hey David? Nope. We're not afraid of hard work. We love hard work. Okay, here we go. And now, well, I hope that you are all ready for this, because this is going to be an interesting ride. Right, let's go back up. Just try and go straight up here, and it's a lovely little island actually that we're on at the moment. We're sort of between two drainage systems. Don't scratch my legs, tree. Hopefully she's going to come up over here, and let's hope she stays in this clearing for some time. She's walking around in circles at the moment. What are you doing down? She's just in there, David. Can't see her just yet, but I think she's going to come up here. She's sort of where this fallen tree is. She's just to the right of that fallen tree. You might actually just be able to see her head moving around. I can just see her shoulder. There she is. You can see her from the right-hand corner of her screen. She's smelling for something. And even an adult leopard, if she was hungry enough, would grab a tortoise and even gobble it up. It's not just restricted to the young and inexperienced cats. Because something like a little leopard or even a scrub hare for Karula would be a nice little snack just to give her enough energy to keep her going through the night again. It's like when you sort of have a sugar low, I suppose, and you snack on a little bar of some sort, so you grab a handful of nuts. And it just gives you a little bit of a boost and a kick to keep you going. It will do exactly the same thing for Madame Karula. Now come back over this way, please, young lady. But I suppose we'll be patient, though I don't sound very patient this afternoon. Hello, Tristan. Tristan, you're wondering how big is a Karula? She's not a particularly large cat. I would say she wouldn't weigh more than about maybe 65 pounds, 70 pounds, somewhere around there. She's not huge. Definitely seen much larger females than the size that she is. And I'm just trying to figure out what she's doing. Obviously, you can see exactly what we're seeing now. She finished sniffing around there. Yes, here she comes. She's just coming out to the right, David. You actually might have a better view. There we go. David's got a much clearer view than what I can because he's a little bit, well, he's much higher up than I. So he's able to see over this low-lying shrubbery. And she's smelling. I think she's also scent marking a little bit around here. Maybe there was another leopard nearby. Every now and then when she was in there, I saw her rubbing her cheek against that fallen log. Isn't that light gorgeous? See how it just catches her eyes every now and then? That's really quite special. Come on, girl. Now, I don't know if I'd be brave enough to walk through there because that looks like that shrub has got lots and lots of thorns on it. Yes. That wouldn't be very nice. David, would you be brave enough to walk through that? Sure. I think when Karula moves out of here, we're going to have to see you do that. I'd be crying. Look, even she's being careful. No, girl. Yes, that one has got very sharp thorns on. Actually, what are you doing? She's smelling. She's very interested in something around here, and of course only Karula knows what she's interested in. Fortunately, we haven't been able to communicate with cats. I wish we could. Brian and I often chat about how we wish we could speak to animals. And I think it would be the best thing to have if you worked with animals at all, with whatever it may be that you do. But it would make safaris fun and interesting. She's going to pop out now, and it's actually going to be a very nice view. Here she comes. I'm worried that we're going to lose her, so we're going to quickly just have another look at her. She might walk right past the vehicle. She's not far from us now. Because if she does cross this drainage system, I think we're going to be in real trouble. And this could possibly be the last time that we see her. Hello, girl. Definitely listening, hoping she's going to hear a little branch snap or the leaves rustling as her prey might be moving through. She's coming right up to the vehicle now. Isn't this so cool? She's going right behind David. Look at that. Not a worry in the world. I'm going to turn around because she's walking in the long grass. Yes, I think this is going to be our last view of her, because as she disappears into this little part, we are not going to be able to follow her. It is impossible. We can always try and go around, but whether we'll catch her in time, I'm not sure. Oh no, there she goes. She's just going to take a lay down. Fantastic. So we might be able to see her again. We'll stick with her as long as we can. But finally, Byron has arrived at Chitwa Dam, and I'm sure he's got lots and lots of hippopotamus to show you.
Look at that. Before James says goodbye, James, just hang on a second, please. Let's just look at that beautiful silhouette. Isn't that amazing? Before the sun drops, because I think the sun's going to drop just beyond that tree line very shortly, and we'll probably lose the effect of the sun in that tree. And the wonderful hippo sound behind us. You see, our afternoon is definitely getting a lot better. Things are happening for us now, Brian. Alright, I'm going to hang around at the dam for a little bit longer. Let's head over to James so he may bid you farewell and head back home. And we still, as I said, that sun's going to drop beyond that tree line shortly, and that's exactly what it's done. But at least we got to see that beautiful silhouette, and we still got a lovely silhouette of this tree. Looks like a dead knobthorn. Hoping these hippo call for us again. Ah, lovely.
Now, of course, we're looking at the drone now, and you can see the beautiful sunset, the oranges, the blues, as they're sort of fading into the oranges, and the sunset is only going to get better. All those beautiful cirrus clouds are going to catch a light with the different colors. Isn't that just absolutely spectacular? A little bit of pink starting now. And apparently you can see, of course, the beautiful Drakensberg Mountains. Now, I'm, of course, in the vehicle. I've still got Karula, so I'm just trying to keep eyes on her. So I'm going to keep moving. You're going to hear the sound of the engine, because I don't want to lose Karula, of course, as we found her again. But isn't that just absolutely beautiful? I'm sure that the Drakensberg Mountains... And there she is. Hello, girl. And she's on the move again. It's cooled down quite a nice bit now. And you can even see that her pace is picked up. She wasn't moving quite as quickly when it was exceptionally hot, when the sun was still at the top of the sky. She looks a lot more active now. We're going to have to keep trying to move, and I really hope she doesn't go back down into this drainage system again, because it's difficult to try and follow her. We'll try and sneak through here. Wait, sorry, that was a little tree, a little fallen over branch we drove over. Oh no, Karula, don't go in here. David, just watch yourself here. She has had squirrels alarming at her. She's had everything shouting at her this afternoon. She's not impressed. Oh my goodness, we're never going to be able to follow her here. We'll try and watch her for as long as we can, but you can see how thick it is, and it's almost impossible for a vehicle to move around. Now she started creeping. Look how carefully she's watching where she puts her feet. I think, though, there's a couple of fallen thorn trees around, so I think that's what she's watching out for. Nothing nastier than a thorn in your paw, and especially, well, that will put a dampen on her hunting mood. She'll have to take it out before she can carry on. But she's looking for anything. The fact that she's going towards these small shrubs and looking around means that she's desperately hungry. Right, we're going to leave Karula now, where I don't think we're going to be able to follow her, unfortunately. But let's go across to Byron, who's got a different view of the sunset.
Oh, have a look at that, everyone. Isn't that magnificent? Perfect, perfect sunset over the African bush. Just look how quickly that sun disappears. You can hear the splashing of some hippo behind us, just moving through the water a little bit. We're going to wait for that sun to disappear completely first. I'm so glad there's a bit of cloud cover. It just gives it that additional bit of extra golden light. Gone. And the hippo calling behind us. Listen.